Michelle Obama popularized a quote that said, "Fame does not change you, it reveals you." Oof. And there have been so many revelations that have come to me once people have crossed over into stardom, into fame, that, more times than not, unfortunately, have been like a nightmare. I believe in reaping and sowing and helping to position people, but it's crazy when you can help people get to a level and they act like they never knew you. Producing television, it's just one of the most powerful mediums that we have to influence the next generation and show them the possibilities of who they can be. It's such a powerful tool when used responsibly.
I think that's the biggest thing, is the perception of being in the limelight, and that if you're not always at that status, that you somehow diminished in terms of your happiness, or
I think with people who exist in our space, that there's this expectation that we're never allowed to ebb and flow the same way that your average person does.
I've got one life in this body to do what God has called me to do, and I'm going to.
Yes. Love it.
I love it. So poetic. You would make a great Oh, you do have a book. That's amazing. Let There Be Art podcast, where we weigh in on a wide range of topics from politics to relationships to health, because everything is a reflection of art. Art reflects society, and society imitates art. I'm your host, Jade Nova, along with my fine-ass co-host and husband, Devin Michael. He's a music producer, musical director, composer, and an industry veteran of over 15 years. And he's worked with everyone from Rihanna to Lizzo and Stevie Wonder, to name a few. And I'm a singer, songwriter, and actress who's been featured on The Simpsons and is starring in the upcoming political comedy, She the People, on Netflix. Y'all, I don't like talking about myself, but I'm gonna keep going because this is what's right here. I've been streamed and viewed over 150 million times as a fully independent artist. And Devin and I started the Let There Be Art podcast to encourage curiosity and to teach and inspire people in our community to build sustainable careers as independent creators from a holistic perspective that focuses on the mind, the body, and soul.
Yes.
All right. Welcome to the Let There Be Art podcast.
Yeah.
That was my best Oprah. All right. So today we have the talented multi-hyphenate Steve Jones, who is a marketing executive turned TV producer and content creator. Steve Jones is the creator of the event series Hollywood Confidential, which was built over a decade ago to serve as a North Star to creatives looking to break into entertainment through advice from the industry's elite. Hollywood Confidential has already reached thousands of attendees and over 500 million digital impressions. That's very, very impressive. Past one-on-one guests, Angela Bassett, I love her. I think I love everyone here. Issa Rae, Snoop Dogg, Tabitha Brown, and so much more. Jones is an esteemed member of the prestigious Television Academy with credits that include projects alongside Jennifer Lopez, Oprah Winfrey, and Beyonce. Additionally, Steve produced 3 seasons of OWN's NAACP-nominated record-breaking docuseries Black Love. And now he is adding author to his resume. Jones is offering practical advice to help people around the world master personal stardom in his debut inspirational book, Hollywood Confidential, 12 Secrets to Becoming the Star of Your Own Life. The book will be released on May 6, 2025, and is available for pre-order. And maybe now it might be available depending on when this thing goes. So just make sure you check it out regardless. So we have Steve Jones.
Yeah.
Steve Jones.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank y'all, man. Hearing that bio was, it sounded like an endorsement. That was great.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I'll be using that everywhere I go on stage.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. We'll send it to you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
I love it. I love the monochromatic nude palette that we have going on. Can you tell us about your choice today?
My choice is I wanted to pick what was best in my suitcase and look good.
I love it. Very ATL. Got the fresh cut today.
I got my Rick Ross going on.
Okay, all right. They got you real clean. Looks good.
Fresh and clean, and a little bit of spray on. What they call that?
Spray on.
You guys don't know.
Spray on beard.
Beijing.
Beijing? Yeah. Oh, I said it earlier.
You got to get that when you're in the A.
You do? Do I?
It's
Should
an
I?
Atlanta classic for sure.
You ever had one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think I'll get one. Is it for girls too?
If you want to.
Yeah, you can fill in up here,
Okay.
some situations, yeah.
Oh, I love it. Okay. All
I
right.
have your people call my people.
To
Please
each
do.
their own.
Thank you. All right.
That's your way of saying you'll never do it again. I heard that.
Not to each his own.
No, not that I wouldn't do it again for her. If you're doing your eyebrows.
Okay. I think my eyebrows are good. Are you trying to come for me?
I'm not at all.
It was a weird time in like 2004, so I'm a little weird. We used to not have brows, so I have a little PTSD.
It's a little brow PTSD.
You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
Just this little stench of it. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're here. Welcome to Atlanta.
I'm in the A, baby. Yeah. I always love it here, and you guys always take good care of me every time I come to Atlanta. So
we've known Steve for at least 10 years now.
Yeah.
Probably what, 13 years ish. So I was first made aware of Steve on Twitter. We became Twitter friends just through liking the same types of music. At the time, I didn't know that secretly he's an amazing singer as well.
Oh, we'll get to that.
And it made sense that he liked a lot of the same music, and we had the same musical taste because he runs with a lot of camps who are the upper echelon of music, like Miss Brandy.
Ooh.
Hey.
But yeah, man, you were a supporter from day one. Literally, some of our first covers and stuff I remember you commenting on and supporting, and just always bringing our names up in rooms, and just a good person. Later found out that he's my Aries brother.
Hey.
And yeah, man, just good people, and a dot connector, and someone who people have nothing but good things to say about you in all the rooms that we walk into, and when we mention that we're cool with you or working with you, man. So it's an honor to have you here, brother.
Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we are the Aries. We're bringing the fire. We're bringing the desire.
Yes.
You feel me?
Oh, and you rhyme. You're a rapper too.
Bars. It's Rick Ross. It's the Beijing.
It's the beard. It turns you into a rapper.
But yeah, I do remember originally meeting you guys, seeing you guys in person somewhere in Los Angeles, and the jokes were joking. And then I stalked you on Twitter.
Yeah.
Now known as X. And the rest is history. So, like I said, you guys always take great care of me every time I come to the city, and just people that you can count on in this industry. I don't like to paint the picture that there are not a lot of people you can't count on in this business, but then there are those who are genuine, and you guys are stand out amongst them. So thank y'all.
brother.
Thank you, Steve.
Likewise, man. Likewise.
I know we're going to get to the book later, but I do want to know if you did the audio book. Because your voice is so soothing. You sound like a radio personality. So I'm kind of like, I would definitely read, but then I'd also listen to it if you talking on there?
I'm talking on there.
I love it. I love to see it.
They gave me the opportunity, and I get my SAG card as a result. So
Okay.
all 12 chapters, me.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about it more, but I just had to acknowledge the voice.
Thank you very much.
And
What a
hope.
compliment coming from the voice.
Oh, okay.
Hey. Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. All right, so let's get into our first segment. Baby, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so this is Beyond Debate. So this is where we take headlines and we go a little bit deeper beyond the clickbait of, what the typical, thoughts and surrounding the subject is. So this week we're doing Dawn Robinson of En Vogue. I'm not sure if you heard, but she was you mentioned that she had been living in her car for some time now. And so can we play that, Kalia?
Almost 3 years, I have been living in my car. I said it. Oh my God, it's out. I've been living in my car. Oh my gosh. If you remember, if you guys were with me, in 2020, I did like 105,000 interviews. And in the interim, I was living with my parents in Vegas. And that was wonderful until it wasn't. I love my mom, but she became very angry. And a lot of her anger, she was taking out on me, and I was her target all the time. And I was like, I can't deal with this. Like, I respect her too much. I didn't understand it. I still don't. And I was sleeping in my car for maybe about a month in Vegas. And then the guy that was co-managing me at the time was living in LA. And he said, you need to come back to LA. I don't have a lot of room, but I'll make room for you. And then when I got to his place, he actually didn't have room for me. So it turned into okay, well, I'm going to put you in a hotel for the night. And that one night turned into 8 months. Oh my God, you guys. I was like, no, this is unacceptable.
Just to wrap it up, I think she ends up talking about how, she never thought she could, live in her car. And then she was talking about just, if you would have told her that when she was in Vogue that she would be living in her car, she never would believe it. But it's actually something that she is enjoying. And the community that I guess she's building around it of people who, have like kind of more of a nomadic lifestyle. So yeah, did you want to weigh in?
I mean, I guess, again, all our algorithms make the world seem like vastly different places from one another. So I don't know what your algorithms were saying, but mine were kind of concerned. I saw people who their initial reaction was concern for her living this nomadic lifestyle. And my reaction to that is kind of, I think with the entertainment industry and people who exist in our space, that there's this expectation that we're never allowed to pivot, that we're never allowed to just sort of ebb and flow the same way that your average person who doesn't exist in our industry does. And I know plenty of people who are in that nomadic lifestyle, like a couple friends of ours who choose to live that way and have so much peace, and they live sovereign lives. And, I think if she's happy and healthy and, I don't see anything wrong with it, especially if the expectation is because you used to be in the spotlight that you can no longer ebb and flow and just kind of pivot based on your mental health and happiness.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing is the perception of, being in the limelight, and that if you're not always at that status, that you somehow diminished in terms of your happiness, or, because how it was framed when I first saw it was like it was a bad thing. Like, it's this outrage that she had been living in her car, versus how when I actually saw her speak about it, her perception of it was just completely different. So yeah, I'm curious, just from you, someone who's empowering creatives and seeing creatives on all walks of life. A lot of them don't have the type of money or success that they would like. When they come to your event series, Hollywood Confidential, to learn these different things. So I'm just curious of, your perspective on it.
Yeah. For clarity, it seems like she's made a conscious decision to move into her car.
Mm-hmm.
Was that conscious decision based on the fact that she moved with the manager, and then as a result, and she was just like, I'll take matters into my own hand?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna go somewhere else. Grew up on En Vogue, love them, and I mean, I'll be in them comment sections wishing that they would all reunite. So,
Correct.
I am that guy. But when I look at the plight of the creative, and in particular, Black and brown creatives, we're fighting against some issues that our mainstream counterparts are not when it comes to receiving royalties and the publishing of it all. And so where I'm going to go that's not done is the recent conversation surrounding Angie Stone.
Yes.
And how she, I believe the end of last year, began to go public about the fact that she hasn't received her money.
Yep. In December 2024.
Right. And I love Tyler Perry for doubling down on that at the service this past week and saying, where's the money at?
Yep.
So I hope once again that Dawn's issue is not connected to the lack of help
Correct.
that we receive as Black and brown creatives in the industry. And if she's made this decision to live in her car and live that lifestyle, God bless. But I'm more worried about those of us who are fighting and do not receive our just due.
Yep.
That's the concern for me.
Ashe. We were just talking about this earlier, just like our legacy artists and how like our white counterparts, like the Rolling Stones and these artists who are just as big, as our Black artists were in their heyday, and they're able to tour and sell out stadiums. But then when our legacy artists tour, there's like 50 of them on the roster in order to draw in crowds. And yeah, there's definitely a difference between how we treat our legacy artists and
I think we have too much of a obsession with things being new and trending, and that we don't have enough appreciation for the classics and the things. It's like, you know, like she said, the Rolling Stones or Queen, or, you know, if Paul McCartney, if they go out, then people are gonna show up. It's something that is passed down generationally, and that you go and you support those types of artists. And, you know, every major act who had songs that everyone can sing like that should be able to tour and have a life that is peaceful and free of financial hardship for the rest of their lives, man.
Agreed.
And we know that there is possible, because in sports they seem to honor their legacy players in a way, like they're always honoring them and they always have respect for them, and there's always commentary around the state of their organization.
The difference there is there's an organization that houses all the teams, all the players, and that there's now a financial incentive for them to always continue to honor the Dr. J's or the people who are commentating or doing the slam dunk competition, voting, or there's all of these different outlets. And I think that's a larger conversation of the restructuring of our community and how we build more communal outlets and teams. You know, you've had, you know, places like TDE or, you know, Rock Nation who have tried to do this, but I think there's a larger conversation that needs to happen about how we rally people together and give them the incentive of not just being a part of a label to split royalties, but like how does this transaction go beyond just this album or these projects, and we get into the royalties, into our retirement, all these other things, because I mean, it's just
financial literacy is, I mean, because there's anytime you're going into business with someone, there would be some kind of conversation, and it's just, we were just talking about this the other day too, because our son was showing us an artist who was recently signed, and he's like 15 years old, and you know, our first reaction is just like, oh, okay. But then really thinking about it, and both of us, and I know we're going to probably do an entire episode on this one day because we were both kids when we started working in the industry. But even that, like, that it's children. And I'm sure in Vogue, we're probably children when they first started. And there's so much pressure and exposure and this whole world and the culture of our industry that as children, they're getting indoctrinated into this system and being taken advantage of without being given the proper education and financial literacy conversations and business conversations of how to build a business and how to structure your business and how to retire, because then they grow up and they still expect to exist in this way, and that's all they know. And it's just, so to your point, if this is not a choice of hers, wow, like how?
And then my thing is, I want us in music to stop repeating negative, repetitive cycles. We've seen this so many times. I'm thinking about TLC and how they ran into a bum deal and had to fight for their money and their publishing, their royalties. And I'm like, why are we still going through this in 2025?
It's crazy.
Where you're watching a video of Angie Stone saying, I actually do not want to be on the road, but due to circumstances, I have to be on the road at 63 years old. And there's a difference. If I want to continue to give my art out to the world, by all means, let me do that. But when I have to, that's a different type of pressure she was under. So imagine her being out on the road, having to do what she didn't necessarily want to do, but had to do, and then losing her life in the interim. Like, my heart goes out. So I'm just trying to figure out, how do we avoid these negative, repetitive patterns and cycles, and what can we do to undergird that generation right ahead of us, who was the representation that we needed on MTV, VH1, BET. I hate to see it. And so what can we do?
And well, that's why we have platforms like what you're building, like what this book is, teaching people how to take control of their lives and to ask the right questions. You know, you've been in situations yourself where you understand what it means to be taken advantage of, and I may be a little too soon with that.
Yeah,
but
we'll touch on it.
I definitely want to come back to that though.
Circle back. But let's get into it though. Let's get into the conversation. So, Where are you? Are you from Ohio?
Born in Youngstown.
Okay, and I know. Did we know that we were both from Ohio? Did you guys know that we're both from Ohio?
I knew.
That makes us so cool. I didn't know you went to Ohio State though.
Oh wait, I was in there.
The Ohio
You have to say
State.
the.
That's the way.
Oh, you'll be banned from the entire state.
Okay. Well,
The
Ohio State University.
Yes,
Tell me, where did you study? What did you study at Ohio State?
man, you know what? I didn't know what I wanted to do, but we came from a household where they were like, "You are going to college."
Figure it out.
And I didn't want to go, but it was a different world actually that pushed me into wanting to go and have that type of communal experience. I wanted to hang out with Mr. Gaines. Yes.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
I wanted Mr. Gaines, I wanted a Dr. Ward, a math teacher. I was like, okay, I can do this. And so I went, and I was basically just undeclared for the first 2 years. And then I had an internship with the original Destiny's Child that showed me it was the representation that I needed. And I went back into college and was like business minor, journalism and communications major. And that's that particular instance or moment in time changed the trajectory of my entire life.
How did you get the internship with Destiny's Child?
Fun story. Glad you asked. What had happened was I got, the internet was not what it is today. This is 99. And somebody on a message board posted the link to the Writings on the Wall project. And so this was one of the first recorded instances of piracy, digitally speaking. And so, of course, my sister and I downloaded the project first and then logged on to Net Zero. You kids at home, check out what Net Zero is. Got on Net Zero, went to their search engine. Yahoo did not exist. Google did not exist. And I typed in Matthew Knowles, Music World Management information. The phone number was there. I made a call, and whoever picked up, I said, put me on the phone with Matthew Knowles. And they said, of course. And I said, track 1 is da-da-da-da. Track 2 is Bugaboo. Track 3 is Bills. By the time I said track 4, Matthew Knowles was on my phone. And this was 6 months before the project was slated to release.
Wait. How did you find it?
It was on a message board. Some generic music message board, and someone uploaded it, maybe from the label secretly, or maybe someone just got their hands on the entire album some kind of way, uploaded it. Wow. There was no Napster. There were no file trading systems at the time. Somehow I got it, and I'm playing it through like WinZip, and there it was. And so Matthew called me and said, "What is the internet?"
Wow.
And by the end of it, long story short, I had my first job being the digital brand moderator for a website called dc-unplugged.com. So I was managing all the messages. Shout out to Damani, who was my partner in crime through the Music World family. And that is how I am where I am today.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. You kind of slayed pirates. Look at you. You're a swashbuckler. That's amazing.
Appreciate it.
Man, those were some wild days on the internet, y'all.
Yes.
We
were at the beginning of the revolution. Yeah. It was crazy, man.
So your parents kind of forced you gently to go to, if you can't see, he just kicked his feet. But yeah, they encouraged you to go. You didn't want to, but I'm curious now in hindsight with all that you've been able to build, do you think that college was a necessary part of your trajectory, or do you think that more of the catalyst came from you figuring out this problem and solving it for Music World?
Great questions here at this podcast. Amazing job you guys are doing. Honestly, when I'm talking to the younger generation today, I don't push institutions. Like, I feel like life is our greatest teacher. For me, 20 years ago, it was probably what I needed. That internship opportunity expanded my mind to the possibilities of what could be. But it was those journalism and communication classes that taught me how to properly write, how to speak, the cadence, the pacing, all of that. And then I was able to launch my event series in college called the Back to School Jam, where we were bringing artists, I was 22 years old, to the campus, raising funding. The Office of DEI, shout out to Mr. Williamson at Ohio State. Actually, it's defunct now as of last week. Trump. But they cut me my first check for $7,500, my first check. And then they taught me how to do sponsorships. And my first sponsorship check was from Coca-Cola while I was still in school.
Wow.
So those instances and those moments could have only happened underneath the tutelage of my then mentors at college within that institution. So for me, it worked. But I'm not pushing it down everyone's throats to say, you must go to school. You must follow your heart and your intuition. And life, again, I believe, is our greatest teacher.
Yes, it is. Experience is everything.
So is that what kind of prompted you to create Hollywood Confidential?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, I always found opportunity in service. I live by the quote that I wrote, service breeds purpose. And when you put yourself in a position to give, the whole world can open up to you.
Service,
And
say it one more time.
service breeds purpose.
Ooh, service breeds purpose.
Every time.
Love it.
When I moved to Los Angeles, I was established. I was doing my thing. And I was running into a lot of Black and brown broke creatives. And I'm like, what's y'all problem? Why are you taking auditions wearing Jordans on your cell phone with your agent sleeping on Skid Row? This doesn't make sense to me. And so I ran into an aspiring director by the name of Matthew Cherry, and he spent a couple nights on my couch, and we just broke bread and had a discussion about the plight of the Black and brown creative in Hollywood. And it was through that conversation that Hollywood Confidential was born. I took it upon myself. I used to swear by, oh, if it bothers you, you're called to it. Now I can walk right by it. Everything is not what I'm called to. But back then, plus a lot of faith and some naivety, you know, I created Hollywood Confidential, which was crazy because I just got to Hollywood and I knew no secrets. But here we are. So I was doing marketing at the time for 2 scripted VH1 shows. The first was a scripted show called Hit the Floor. It's featuring Kimberly Elise and Logan Browning. Shout out to them. And I approached Kimberly and I'm like, will you be the first panelist for Hollywood Confidential? She's like, whatever it is, if it's all about helping people, I'm there. I then moved to Keke Palmer because she was doing, she was playing Chili in the TLC biopic. And I'm like, will you do it? Yes, no charge. And they were my first 2 panelists. And that was in 2013. So it's been 12 years of me being the conduit between the established legends and the aspiring. And so I'm moderating conversations with, most recently, Lupita Nyong'o, Angela Bassett, Issa Rae, Regina King, Snoop Dogg, which was iconic. Yeah, you can't be around Snoop and not at least have a conversation or.
Oh, I thought you said a
talk
contact
about
high.
the
Sorry. That's what I was like, yeah. Sorry.
Talk about techniques and how you get that role so perfected. But just everyone who I grew up watching, imagine this platform opening up the opportunity for me to sit and break bread and fellowship and also feed the attendees and feed their souls. I look at myself, again, as a conduit between these 2 entities, and we can use their lives and the lessons that they've accrued as food that feeds their souls. And so it's an honor to serve as that conduit between the 2.
Yeah.
So what was the moment when you realized it was working?
Issa Rae. Prior to that, we had done the panel just annually. And that was a massive undertaking within itself, just to do it one time a year. It is a free event, so I always work with brands to offset the cost. So you pitch a year in advance. Walgreens had attached themselves for a really nice price for 5 years. We did an MSA with them, and that was a blessing. And so, again, the format prior to that had been multiple people on a panel. Going into 2017, we changed the venue to the Saban Theater, which seats 2,000 people. And we approached multiple people to be on the panel. The only one who said yes was Issa Rae. And I kept thinking, can we do a stadium of 2,000 people with Issa Rae? But it was right after the success of the first season of Insecure. And everyone wanted to know the formula to going from the internet and YouTube, if you guys remember Awkward Black Girl, and the success is what made Hollywood come calling. So she was basically the representation of the shift in the industry. When I tell you 2,200 people showed up, people were sitting in the aisles, black, white, Asian. I mean, it was crazy. They threatened to call the fire marshal. There were so many people.
Wow.
And Issa came out. When you hear a panel, you're like, oh, another panel.
Very intimate.
Yeah, this is an experience. And so when she walked on the stage, she literally looked at me like, what is going on? I'm like, welcome to Hollywood Confidential. And so we knew then, like, this is like actually something that we can live off of and continue to do. I don't know that we thought we're going to continue to do it for the rest of our lives. I thought I just want to service people and help people. I didn't know it would be 12 years later and all of these ancillary opportunities coming in. Now dreams that I didn't even know I had have unfolded and manifested outside of just being of service. So Issa Rae was the first time I realized this is a real thing.
Yeah.
What are the biggest questions that you're getting from aspiring people in film?
What are some of the biggest questions? How do they break into the business? Do they need a manager? Do they need an agent? Do they truly need to do headshots? Should they do monologues? Should we just do mirror work? Those are the beginning questions that I got from aspiring actors my first 2 to 3 years when I launched Hollywood Confidential. Should I move to Los Angeles, or can I do this remote from where I live? Those were a lot of the questions that I was getting in the infancy stages of Hollywood Confidential. That kind of backed up my thought of creating this platform. I mean, inbox was just popping. Nobody was ever asking about me. DMs just dry. Like, they didn't care about me. They wanted to access. And that's cool. That's cool. But yeah, those are the questions I got.
Have you seen those questions evolve over the years? Have they changed much now, or are they pretty much the same? Because I just being on the inside of the industry, a lot has changed in the industry. So.
Absolutely, man. The questions now have grown to, will there be a need for us, or will AI take control?
Talk about it.
Do we work with AI, or do we work against it? So those are a lot of the questions and concerns that people had, especially during or right before and then after the writers and then the actors strikes. And then television right now, as it stands, we don't know the path forward. We honestly don't. So there's a mass exodus right now happening in Los Angeles. I think I'm sitting with a byproduct of that. It breaks my heart. We used to go to the vegan spots. We used to be out here. But the life that you guys have built is beautiful. And there's opportunity. I think the pandemic was a great hardship, but also it freed a lot of people. And now you can manifest your dream. You can live that dream wherever you want to, especially with the help of TikTok and social media. Like, you don't have to move and live that sacrificial life. And I got to give up everything. Actually, I can connect heart to heart and find my target demographic from the comfort of my living room in North Carolina and become an influencer, and I never have to leave.
Or when I want to get out, then I can go and I can tour. And that's not just artists, that's speakers, that's thought leaders, that's
absolutely
scientists, everything. Man.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on AI? Just curious, since you brought it up.
Oh man, you guys ask such good questions. I'm just trying not to get canceled.
Listen,
no canceling on this show.
What are my thoughts are on AI? I think we need to learn with it, and those of us who have not leaned in are late. It's not going anywhere, and it would behoove us to master that technology. I'm starting to do proposals with it, and it doesn't require me to use as much bandwidth, which I don't have as much these days. I'm not in my 20s no more, or my 30s.
What's your skin secrets?
Water. But honestly, AI can be a tool, and I hope it doesn't work against us. But again, I think we need to arm ourselves with as much knowledge and information as we can.
That's the only way you can protect yourself against anything is just if you know it well.
Absolutely.
So interesting, because that's kind of like how you got started was when Matthew Knowles asked you, "What is the internet?" So
Because that was, oh man, that's crazy. Because that was going to be my next point. It's like, let's look at the generation, Generation X or baby boomers who did not get in early enough on the internet. Now they're just stuck on Facebook and they don't know how to do anything else. Do not let that happen again with AI. I'm telling you, it will be the downfall of you, and you will spend far too much time doing simple tasks. And it is much more cost effective and much more of a much less of a headache to just spend a little money to help yourself out and give yourself a pseudo assistant.
Yeah. Because essentially that's what it is.
Yeah. And it can only go as far as your brain allows. Yeah. Anyway, so at the end of the day, it's how skilled are you at pulling the information out? Yep. It's just like the student is only as good as the teacher is how I look at AI. So.
Yeah, I look at it like
wax on, wax off.
Oh, come on, Mr. Miyagi. Yes. Our son calls him Mr. Miyagi meets Coach Carter.
Somewhere in the middle.
Wax on, wax motherfucking off.
I see that.
But of all the people that you've come in contact with in your Hollywood confidential sphere, who would you say has the most like incredible success story that you've heard?
It's like picking your favorite child. How do you do that?
Easy. Marshawn is my favorite son.
Well, he's your only son and child.
Yes, that we know of.
On this plane. Let's see. The best success story?
Yeah, just the most inspirational or just one that has stuck
Stood
with
out.
you. Yeah.
Can I do 2?
Yes.
I'll make it quick.
You could do 3.
I'm going to keep it black, but I'm going to keep it brief. Y'all know that girl?
I love that.
Yeah, she be lying. She don't be keeping it brief. All right, here we go. I want to say that one of my favorite inspirational stories that we had a small hand in is that of Tabitha Brown, who I know you guys love. And she came to our workshop in between the large scale 2,000 seater events. We have a smaller workshop that you do have to pay for. And it houses about 75 to 100 actors. And we allow them to showcase in front of managers, agents, and casting directors. And Tabitha signed up in 2015. And this was pre-fame Tabitha Brown, pre-Afro Tabitha Brown, pre-vegan Tabitha Brown.
Oh, this is pre-carrot hot dog?
Pre-accent.
Pre-accent.
2015. She didn't have accent. She was hiding the accent because her agents and managers told her, you don't need to do that. You need to hide that. That doesn't make you sound as intelligent.
Wow.
And it was, you guys know her story. It wasn't until she found her freedom somewhere around having to drive Uber to figure out her finances. And she pulled over and she gave a review on TTLA, and the rest is history with Whole Foods. But yeah, she came to our workshop and we got to share heart to heart. I got to hear what her concerns were. And there were a good 30 of us. I could name everybody who was in her chats prior to her blowing up. And we would encourage her to show more of her personality. And then the term influencer was evolving. And I remember she would respond, oh, baby, I'm a serious actress. I'm not an influencer, honey. And who would have thought that influencer and being her authentic self would have opened up the whole world to her.
Wow.
And now she's more established than a lot of the Blacktors and Blackstresses that we grew up watching, that we were wanting to emulate. So there's so much power in authenticity. So I can't talk about this brand, the Hollywood Confidential brand, without talking about the success of Tabitha Brown. And within the book, which I'm sure we're getting to, but each chapter is devoted to a different actor or person I've interviewed, and she has a chapter on authenticity. So you got to check it out.
Definitely.
Just a powerful tool, powerful medium to help you to become more of who you already are. So I love her. There's no way I could talk about my favorite guest and lessons I've learned without mentioning the great Tabitha Brown.
Tabitha Brown.
Shout out to Tabitha, yo.
She's such a light.
She is.
One more story. Angela Bassett. I feel like legendary actress, and I do feel like she's received her flowers from Hollywood, and I don't feel she's underrated. I feel like she's rated. But she doesn't like to do events with huge crowds. Her words, not mine. And her management had told her when it came to Hollywood Confidential, oh, there'll be 200-300 people there. And so she arrives, and we're taking a private photo shoot, and you can hear the people, but you can't see them. And Angela grabs me, and she says, Steve, now how many people are out there? I said, about 1,800. And her eyes got really big, like, excuse me? How many? And she stepped on stage, and the scream that the people scrumped, I've never heard to that degree. It's that rock star dissonance in your ear where I instinctively went to cover my ears. It was so loud. And then I had to tell myself, grow up, Steve. But she came out, and her eyes just filled with tears. And she mentioned that she had never been honored to that degree by her own community. Wow. And there's nowhere she goes in the city of Los Angeles without someone saying, I was at that event. So every time I run into her, it's like our calling card. Now, why do I reference her as a point of inspiration? She shared with us on stage that when it comes to what's love got to do with it, she was working somewhere between 14 and 16 hours a day on set to perfect the craft of Tina Turner. And turns out she wasn't even in contract. And the audience gasped. And it's like, that's it literally put things in perspective. How hard will you work for your dream without a guaranteed return on your investment? And when I think about that role, and God bless Tina Turner and the legacy that she left. But when I think of Tina Turner, I get confused to this day. I'm like, it's Angela Bassett.
Yeah.
So when you think about the work that went in behind the scenes without a contract, so it's basically like an ongoing month or two audition if you look at it from that POV.
That's crazy.
That inspired me.
14-hour days without
14 to 16.
Wow.
All without being in contract. And of course she got the job, and that movie pretty much positioned her to be who she is today. But imagine had she not got that role, putting in all that time. No guaranteed return on investment. It just showed me that you really have to want your dream, and you really have to fight for that thing and put in the work. And so that moment sticks with me to this day as points of inspiration to bring it home to your question.
You definitely make me want to read your book, man. I mean, I already wanted to read it because I love you and I know you're smart. But no, this is incredible. Like hearing these stories, like I needed this. So I'm excited.
Yeah, shout out to Angela. She's a legend, man. I can't take her out of Katherine Jackson either. She's always going to be Katherine.
You a liar and you a cheat. And I don't want you. No, I don't want you. I don't want you. I don't want you no more.
It's crazy.
My God.
That scene was powerful.
Yeah. I'm nervous for the new Katherine Jackson in this new Sony situation. I'm nervous. I got friends in it and everything, but I'm like.
Wait, is it Nia Long? Yeah.
She's Nia Long is playing Katherine Jackson.
She's going to kill it, y'all.
She is.
Nia's going to kill it.
But I just really want y'all to bring it because the Jackson miniseries, we played that every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, every holiday, baby.
Anytime it came on, I'm trying to record it.
Period.
I had to find like 5 VHS tapes to like watch the whole thing together.
These kids don't know about a VHS tape. They don't know.
When you done missed the first 15 minutes, so you be mad.
Now you're very upset at this point. Now I have to catch it the next time it comes on, and I don't know what time it's gonna come on.
Unless I catch the TV guide.
And the TV guide just scrolls on by.
It done been on for 30 minutes already, man.
And I still ain't seen what I'm here to see.
How did we survive before like the internet, Matthew?
I don't know, man.
What did we do?
That girl's so damn quick.
What did we do?
I don't know. But yeah, ironically, I got to act out. We can only do this when we have legends on the stage. And I got to act out. I think the segment was called Name That Line. And I got to act that scene out in front of Angela Bassett. And she actually told me I was amazing. And I thought about pivoting and moving into acting. But I said, nah, I'm going to stick to doing what I'm doing. But you know.
You could be acting forever.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
But yeah, that scene That's a love language between me and my friends. I'm sure you guys as well. Just blurting out random movie lines when they make sense and when they don't. So I'm so glad that we all knew that.
I feel like that doesn't happen anymore. I feel like no one bonds over like everyone knowing the same like lines from movies.
Well, that's because most movies are just remakes of movies that existed when we were younger anyway.
Or they're just watching too many movies for everyone to like hyper focus on a few.
One movie, like the cult following of the movies. Yeah,
there was a specialness with the quality and quantity situation. You know, back in the day, we might not have been inundated with imagery, but the imagery we got, was top notch. Yep. Boys in the Hood, like I can tell you, I don't want to go here with you guys. There's other things to talk about, but I can give you the scenes. I can break it down. Yep. You feel from every movie from that era, and you're right. There's so much representation now, especially when it comes to streaming platforms. You watch it and you're on to the next, or you're watching it and you're not really watching it.
I forget everything I've watched in the past 5 years.
There you go.
It's now like we're cramming for a test, you know? Like I think because everyone watches it all at the same time and they talk about it on X and then we move right along. Right. It's just to get the information to keep going. So we're just cramming for tests now.
Yeah, I wasn't cramming with the Jacksons' American Dream.
We were studying deeply.
Yep, 10 years straight. Just every time it came on, just watch as much as I can.
She been in our house, in our bed.
Wait, baby, do the jacket one. They got my baby.
Baby.
Yes.
Can't believe we got to make an appointment to be with our own little brother.
And when was it Jermaine was ordering the stuff in
pie. Apple pie.
It's a lot.
All right, no more lines.
We could keep going, but we might have to pay.
Like money for this, right? Copyright infringement.
This is on Patreon.
Okay.
Last, you want to wrap up?
Sure, let's wrap this up. So, you know, we're living in the era of social media, like we've discussed, and there's a lot of oversharing going on, you know, people being afraid of getting canceled and such. So, you know, you have Hollywood Confidential. What do you think are some things that still need to be kept confidential as an artist, as a creative?
These questions, man. Shout out to you all. Shout out to the production team.
Shout out to Kalia. Shout out to
somebody is writing. Somebody's pen game is crazy. I don't have an answer for that. I'm just kidding. What are some things that should remain confidential?
Yes.
Man, I'm all about sharing, guys. I am. And I believe that if someone else has achieved a certain milestone, why should I have to repeat the mistakes? And I can talk to you and you don't have to gatekeep that information and you can share that. I'm all about it. But I like a BTS conversation, not in front of the camera. And so when it comes to rates and people sharing rates, I've seen a lot of that. Like, oh, I made this much. I understand that. But putting that out there in front of the camera, I just feel like there's some things that need to be kept confidential, and pay is one of them. Even when you haven't received the right amount of pay, like that's why you have a team, a manager, an agent, people who should be advocating for you. Even when it comes to the songwriting space, I recently saw someone who will remain nameless who went online and said, I ain't got my money and you ain't so-and-so artist to be doing this and that. And I'm just like, okay, I understand, advocate for yourself, but also in a sense, you also could be blackballing yourself from working with other people because they're seeing how you're dealing with this on camera, on the internet. And then you wonder why your phone's not ringing to the extent that it was prior to. So I just feel like we need to have wisdom when it comes to oversharing, when it comes to contracts, finances. It just bothers me when I see that online. I'm just like, I understand I'm the old generation, but also y'all got to get some tact and shut up.
Yeah, you got to build trusted community with people who you know can keep those things confidential.
Absolutely.
And you know, I have my people, the Ricky Miners and Adam Blackstones of the world, who were there. Who I'm not going and talk about the things that you know, because I had to get burned in order to ask the right questions. First of all,
come on, man.
But when I do, I go to them in private and we have the conversation. They let me know what I can get and what they've gotten, and you know, each one teach one for sure. In terms of just having more knowledge about these parts of the industry. The transparency is necessary, but again, and behind closed doors.
Come on, man. I always question the intention when I'm seeing something go viral and somebody's being called out. Like, are you really trying to use this moment as a teachable lesson to help those coming behind? Or is this clickbait and you're trying to get your followers up? And if so, at what expense? So that's just me.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts on what should be kept confidential.
Oh, and we're going to segue. Oh, that was cool. Can you do it and look at the camera? Speaking of things that should be kept confidential. So you experienced a situation where you had an idea that you shared with someone, and they took that idea and they made it their own and they left you out of it. How did you navigate that situation, and what did you learn from that experience?
How did y'all know that? Did I tell you guys that as friends? This is research. I don't appreciate it. This is crazy. This podcast. Everyone needs to come to this podcast.
Yes.
Somebody is doing their damn job around here. Yeah, I did pitch a concept to an amazing piece of talent who I loved and respected. And then months went by and I hadn't heard any feedback, and something in my intuition said, my brother, you in danger. And so, a variant of that showed up on network without my participation. Ooh. And prior to that, I had heard of people who had struggled with depression. I'm like, oh man, my heart goes out to them. God bless you. And then it was me. And it lasted probably for a year. But now I look at content being borrowed as a badge of honor, as proof of concept. If you didn't have anything worth borrowing without permission, it let me know I was on the right track.
And if you're listening, he's putting borrow in air quotes.
Yes.
Yeah. I had to use the word stole and steal, but that's what you did. But you borrowed it without my knowledge. And you know what? That particular project wasn't even successful. It was here and it was gone. And I lived to see another day, and I learned there's nothing that I send out now, even if I consider you a friend or a colleague, there's nothing that I send out that's not copywritten, protected, even though that particular concept was. But then I have accountability measures that I have put in place as well, with including my team and making sure that everybody under the sun is aware that this concept is coming from here, and you're welcome to create a derivative. And also, there are no new ideas under the sun, right? Maybe you had something percolating that was similar to what I brought. Integrity would say, communicate that prior to moving forward with yours. So I just feel like these are stripes that unfortunately happen, and we learn and we earn in this business. I'm not saying it's right, but it's okay. I'm going to make it anyway.
Yes, sir.
Well, and I have. The credits that I've achieved in television since then are massive, with huge partners like Oprah Winfrey. And I got to film content with Beyonce and Jennifer Lopez. And I look at that as a necessary evil in my journey. And I also realize a beautiful revelation that I got recently was I have no enemies. Everything, we're all working in tandem in this huge ensemble cast. And we have cast, I believe that we've co-cast and co-created our whole reality with God, and that certain scenarios play out to provoke the growth of our soul. Without that instance, I wouldn't be who I am today. So I thank you.
Person.
Whoever you is, male, female. You see how I was real smooth? I didn't even say what. Whoever you is, I thank you. I thank those people who were unsupportive, who were unkind. And I had to work through bitterness and all of that stuff. So it's funny earlier when you guys were like, when we go in the rooms, we say your names. I'm like, okay, I hear you, but you go in some rooms and they be like, I don't like him. And that's fine too, because I had to go through a process of refining and figuring out the balance of, my heart has been broken in this business that I grew up loving and wanting to emulate. How do I now guard myself, still show kindness, and not want to? So depending on the room, I'm an Aries. What we gonna do? We're gonna keep it real. I'm not gonna play fake with you. If you stole some stuff or talked about my mama, I'm not gonna be in the room talking about, hi, hey man. I'm gonna be like, hey. So
Facts.
Without those instances, I wouldn't be who I am. And that sounds like so cliche. And I needed to do that. Honestly, they created a better me. A more loving me, a more understanding me, a more refined me. So I'm thankful for all of those instances. And I'm also thankful for the opportunity to sit on this podcast and talk about how those experiences built me, to write a book, to pour those lessons in there so it can help the next generation. So
it all comes back around every time. Like you said earlier, life is the best teacher, and you need those experiences to be in service. To bring it back to what you said, service breeds purpose.
Yes, sir.
That sentiment means so much to me now, just from what we're building with our podcast and everything, and just flipping our whole perspective, even with your album last year and putting out your ebook and everything, and just flipping the perspective of performing and inviting people to come purchase versus I'm giving value, and I'm giving something that is bigger than myself, because ultimately that's the only place purpose can come from.
Yeah.
The service.
Spit those bars, spiritual bars.
So I mean, you've worn a lot of different hats, and you've gone from being an intern to an author, and you've met a lot of incredible people along the way. Like, how do you? This is kind of a two-part question. So how do you build trust with these artists that you're working with? And then how do you shift the perception of how you're looked at by these people? So if you met them as an intern, you met Beyonce, obviously, and as an intern at Ohio State University, and then you created content, a whole situation as a producer for Beyonce years later. So how do you make those transitions of not being remembered for what you were, but who you are now?
Wow. It's the questions for me. I'm going to keep going back to these questions.
I mean, we can relate to that, coming from background singers to write, like all these different hats, you know. So I'm genuinely asking for myself because, you know, you do it very well.
Thank you, guys. And I think we all have become experts at our highlight reel and curating all the wins. But I feel like you just have to continue to show up as your best self to where your greatness cannot be denied. Like, I'm going to make sure that the ROI that I bring, the opportunities I bring, I'm using ingenuity, I'm being innovative in my approach and my strategy. And I'm presenting opportunities that could possibly come from somewhere else or someone else, more experienced, awarded, decorated, but you know it won't get done with the heart, the passion, the drive that I bring to the table. So I'm always making sure that when I strike, ingenuity and innovation is leading the way, and excellence. Not just Black excellence, which I love, but just excellence across the board. That's the standard, right? And so I think that's the way I have been able to pivot. And I also am strategic about when I lean into relationships. I don't ask everybody for everything, so that when I do make an ask, it's considered. To have Tabitha Brown, 3 or 4 time New York Times bestselling author, endorse this book is a big deal. Her name holds weight in the literary world. So that probably means if I'm going to ask her for 5 favors a year, maybe I need to condense it to 3 so that when the one that I need is asked and presented, I get the yes that I need. So I think that it's about making sure that you are managing and mitigating your relationships and not overextending them or overextending your number of requests. Like, I haven't asked you guys for anything. So then when I ask for something, y'all gonna do it. Like, I'm gonna be like, Jay, can you hold my book? You might, he never asked me to do anything before. Let's make a jingle. Who yet? Yeah. So I think it's just having the wisdom on when to strike and how to strike and making sure that your presentation is airtight.
Love that.
Well, tell us about this book. Looking like a supermodel on this book.
Oh, yeah.
Got the boots, made for walking.
You know what's cool? Today, Coco from SWV left a comment underneath the book post, and I'm like, yo, the 90s. Our idols, the people who we wanted to be like or be on the tour bus with, you know, and I was able to comment back like, you gotta check these boots out because this fit was inspired by SWV, Jodeci, and others, that whole era. So it was cool that we got to have that exchange online. But yeah, the book is here, man. And now I'm gonna switch up the question, or actually POV. I got to thank you guys because I was able to sit down with you guys a year ago and say, man, this literary world is not what I thought it was going to be. You work so hard to achieve a dream, and then you get there, and then sometimes the dream doesn't look like what you planned. And then you realize there's extra work necessary, And you guys gave me the strength that particular day to put in the extra work. So this is our book, actually.
Hey. Oh, so we get royalties on it too. He said it, yo. He said this is our book.
So happy to be in partnership with HarperCollins and a newer imprint that they have called Celebrate, which is devoted to giving authors an opportunity to share their passions about what they love and their expertises. And it gives Coffee Table Book a little bit. There is an opportunity that I had to write quotes and affirmations at the beginning and end of each chapter and give people opportunity to journal and reflect and meditate. That wouldn't have came without this particular imprint. So I'm so happy to be working with them. There's huge call outs in gold and black, and it'll keep people who aren't necessarily readers engaged throughout. So I'm super happy about the book, the final product. And here we are. It's 12 years of Hollywood Confidential. I've poured in all of the lessons that I've learned from the greats and some of my greatest successes and failures into this book as a means of helping people to, again, become more of who they already are.
Yes.
So I'm excited about it, if y'all can't tell.
We're excited
about it too. I was trying to steal this book, but he brought the only copy that exists so far here, and I might spill something on it so I can keep it.
Yeah, okay. Well,
So make sure you do yourself a favor and go pick up Hollywood Confidential, 12 Secrets to Becoming the Star of Your Own Life. It's out as of May 6, 2025. Do yourself a favor and go grab this book, y'all, and take control of your life and of your vision and of your purpose.
Become the star of your own life.
Yes. So in the book, you speak on the law of attraction. And yeah, so that's a big one for me. So I would love to see how you've kind of shifted your mindset from kind of the negative outlooks that a lot of us have and being pessimistic to more of a optimistic outlook on things. So here at Let There Be Art, we call it charged life. So it's about things that every decision either charges you or it drains you. Whether that's food, whether that's a relationship, anything, there's only one direction it can go. So what was the catalyst for you really changing your mindset?
Great question. Touching on the hardships that I went through that I mentioned earlier, again, I didn't want my trauma to become my identity. And so I had to figure out a practice, a way to push past all the disappointments, hurts. Again, so it didn't become my identity, because it really was about to become my identity, like F everybody. And so I love prayer. I love God. But I saw a quote that said, prayer is talking to God. Meditation is listening. And that quote opened me up. And then a second spiritual teacher from afar, Marianne Williamson, she did a segment on Super Soul Sunday talking about unforgiveness. And we had heard these things coming up in Christian church all the time, but this hit me in a different way. The expression was, you can either have a grievance or a miracle, but you cannot have both. And game changer. And so I tapped into not just praying, but into meditating and understanding that words are spells and they have power. And it was Maya Angelou who I believe said that words are things, and if we could see them, they would be sticking all over the walls. And those three instances or lines of belief helped to shift. And I just became responsible for the things that were coming out of my mouth, understanding that there is life or death in the power of the tongue. And so I began in about 2015, 16, choosing life actively through my words. And my words began to frame my reality. And so on that vision board that I created, I didn't say that. I created a vision board as a result of this new line of thinking in 2015. On that vision board was selling shows to Oprah Winfrey. On that vision board was a book called Hollywood Confidential with HarperCollins.
Wow.
It was that specific. And here we are, 10 years later, a decade later, and all those things and more have come into fruition. So that was a catalyst for me tapping into the power of manifestation, which a lot of people hear that word and they go, ooh,
Like
woo,
woo
woo.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, no, you literally are creating. Well, I don't know why my life is. Take responsibility. Do an introspective look within. What am I doing or not doing? That's creating the results that I'm experiencing. And then it's not enough to identify that, but then to take ownership and move into action.
Yep.
That's key.
You
Yeah,
bring
we
up.
stay-
Oh, go ahead.
we make it a habit of falling into victimhood
Yeah.
a lot, and always looking at the external things that have caused it. But I think it's much more important that we learn to be prepared for anything, because suffering is inevitable.
Yeah.
Whether it's one thing or another, or a family member, or whatever it is, you're going to suffer some type of stress, some type of emotional pain, something that you did not expect, and you need to prepare yourself for the resilience of being able to deal with anything that comes your way. I think is the most important thing there. So I love that.
And I was just going to touch on something you said that just kind of hit me about the fact that you understand that there's prayer and you understand that there's meditation, and being able to take accountability for your own life by tapping into more than just religion. Like, I think the issue with some people is that it becomes their entire identity when they're indoctrinated into one specific way of thinking or doing things, or their faith, and they don't allow themselves to tap into other healing modalities that can all be supplemental to your faith. And I think that's just a beautiful way to put it, what you just said. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this episode and write it down, or I could just ask you here, because that would be a lot of work when you're right here. But you know, but no, I think it's really powerful, and something that I think a lot of people need to tap into, and to understand that you can still have your identity and you can still subscribe to whatever religion or thought that you want to, but allow that to be one part of many tools that you use in order to become a fully healed, accountable human that isn't just looking for something else to save you.
Yep.
So that's very
It's
powerful.
not just church. It's not just eating. It's not just the old traumas. It's all of them together, and that's how it's building blocks to building a house. It's multiple departments to make a movie, and yeah, we got to stop having this one size fits all version of just go to therapy. That's not enough.
Nope. That's one thing.
What happens after therapy? What are you gonna do with the other 6 days a week if you're going? You know what I mean? So
Yes, sir.
yeah, just taking a more holistic approach to our healing, and taking control of our lives.
Yeah. I'm thinking of, I believe, what is the scripture where it talks about the kingdom of God being within? And I think we can read that and then not really take a look into what that's truly saying.
Yep.
I think we're always looking externally for a savior when the DNA of God lives within me.
100%.
And so I can look within and tap into the power source and the resources that he's given me. I love the example of the person who's drowning and they're praying and they're waiting on God. And then a tugboat pulls up and they're like, oh, I'm waiting on God. And all these means of being saved showed up, but you're waiting for the miraculous.
Yep.
And that was actually God using that tugboat in all of those instances to save you. And so I just feel like church is a wonderful resource when you're talking about therapy. You say, what do you do the rest? Church is a wonderful resource, but you can also do therapy as well.
Yep.
Like you can have God and therapy, and you can have prayer, and you can have meditation. It's actually in the Bible. Meditate on these things. So I'm just glad that I'm in a space where I can trust that anything that comes my way has already been safeguarded by God, and it's for me. And so I'm open at this point into whatever tools I can use to become the greatest version of myself.
Yes.
And if that doesn't look like traditionally what it's looked like, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I've got one life in this body to do what God has called me to do, and I'm going to lean into every resource possible to hear well done at the end of this mission.
Yes. Love it.
I love it. So poetic. You would make a great author. Oh, you do have a book. That's amazing. That's amazing.
The book is out.
Look at that. Baby, I feel like we should I think that was a beautiful place to end, in my opinion. And I think we should just get into these segments. How do you feel, baby?
Let's do it.
All right, well, let's get into our next segment. It's called Dream and Nightmare. And this is basically where you tell us a dream scenario that happened in your career. And you also tell us a nightmare situation and, how you overcame. You can start with either. I like to end with the good, but you do you, Steve.
A nightmare situation and a dream situation. Man, oh man, oh man.
Oh, the duality of the entertainment industry.
A nightmare would probably be that TV show Stolen, but you can cut this out. We want to add some variety.
Okay.
A nightmare situation. Can I talk about a nightmare guest?
Sure, yes.
All right, cool. Okay, a nightmare and a dream situation. A nightmare, I can't give one specific instance because a lot of my career is so documented on the internet that people will try and figure out who it is. And I don't want 50 questions. And you guys are celebrities. Your platform's huge. I don't have time for that. What I will say is I've taken so much pleasure in creating opportunities for so many people. And the nightmare is when they reach that stardom or the height of fame and they don't reach back. Or they become different people or more of who they secretly already are or were. Michelle Obama popularized a quote that said, "Fame does not change you, it reveals you." Oof. And there have been so many revelations that have come to me once people have crossed over into stardom and into fame that, more times than not, unfortunately, have been like a nightmare. So I'm happy that I helped that person, and I believe in reaping and sowing and helping to position people. But it's crazy when you can help people get to a level and they act like they never knew you. So I would say that's the nightmare.
Ooh. The dream.
The dream. All right, the dream. The dream would be the book. Full transparency. I know it feels like a promo moment. It's in stores now. But I've had the idea to do a book longer than I've had Hollywood Confidential. So I've had an idea to do a book for over probably 15 years. And recently I temporarily relocated from Los Angeles to Ohio. And I found a box of old journals, and I found one dated 2010, talking about writing this book.
Wow.
And it was under another name by then, but the concept was the same. So to see, I just feel like journaling is a meditative practice that a lot of people, in particular guys, like they don't lean into that. Like, journal, I'm not Moesha, like, come on, man. But when you look back at a documented record, and you see how powerful you are, that you're able to bring something from your head onto paper into real life. That's a spiritual experience.
Let's talk about it.
And so
something that a lot of men don't possess, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I have to shout out Brandy for getting me one journal that I still use to this day. I actually talk about it in the book. In stores now. But she gave me this beautiful, dope journal that I still use to this day. Where a lot of my ideas that I've been able to take out of my head and now see them in real life, they're there. And so she was one who really hammered down the importance of journaling. And I'm thankful to her for teaching me. That's one of many lessons that I've gained from Brandy, Rihanna, Norwood. But I would say that is the dream, is to be able to see this thing come into fruition. Not that there weren't road bumps and are not challenges ahead concerning the project, but the fact that it's here with HarperCollins, the #2 publisher in the world. Like, I'm just a dude from Youngstown, Ohio. I'm not a product of nepotism. I didn't know anyone in the business. I literally gave up everything I had, voyaged across the country, and it worked. So I'm just thankful. That would be the dream.
Yeah.
And that's totally full circle because Brandy wrote the foreword for your book, yeah?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And it was actually more so lessons in her life that she allowed us to dissect, quotes that I personally leaned into and lived by, that she allowed us to just remix and reverse. But again, for Brandy to lend her name to, that's like forever.
That's incredible.
And that another form of representation. I fell in love with the West Coast because of Boys in the Hood, in particular, On a Different World, the episode where they visited Los Angeles. I'm like, I'm going there. And I wanted to go to Crenshaw High with Moesha and them. You know what I'm saying? So who knew, while she was inspiring me, and I've got everything in my locker, the Moesha posters and things, who knew that would actually become a real friend who has helped to guide me, not just in the business, but in life. So it's a blessing to have her participation in this book. It means everything.
That's beautiful.
That's dope, man.
That's Cinderella, baby.
She's our Cinderella. She was the first Black Roxy Hart too on Broadway.
She was. So I mean, give her things, man. Give her things. But the podcast's not about her, but it could have been.
It could have been.
Okay.
We're going to get to her in a second.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming.
Yes.
But our next segment is Gem of the Week. So each episode rather, we like to highlight an independent creative in any field. Really, it could be music, film creator,
Entrepreneur, documentary,
just
restaurant owner, whatever.
But anyone who's doing it independently without a machine, or who has done it successfully without a machine, that you want to just highlight and give their flowers to.
Absolutely. A gentleman by the name of Kristen Gray. He is amazing. He used to be in a rap group called The Elevationist. And now he's a solo artist in his own right, signed to, I believe, Sony or RCA. And he just put out his first single of his, it's not his debut project, but it's the reimagining of Kristen Gray. And the song is actually a remix of the old school gospel song by Donnie McClurkin, Speak to My Heart. But it's rewritten secular, where he's talking about meeting a girl. And so you've got the nostalgia of that song with his new approach. Is sick. So I want to give him his flowers. Amazing writer, producer, singer, and I'm wearing the song out. It's triple platinum at my home. So
Let's go.
Give you your flowers, bro.
Awesome.
Also from Ohio. O State.
Okay, Ohio, the Ohio. I'm just saying, that's my hood.
Great guy.
Beautiful.
All right, so now we're going to get into my favorite segment, Sign Drop Collab. So this is where basically we're rating first, second, third on multiple different categories that you will have an expertise on. So this first one, I think you'll get a kick out of, to bring it on back to Brandy.
We're talking Brandy albums, okay? So Never Say Never, Full Moon, Aphrodisiac.
So remember, Sign is number 1, Collab is number 2, and Drop
is number 3. With respect, I mean, we don't drop them. We gently place them down to say that they are not our first and second choice.
Oh, Jesus.
Never Say Never, Full Moon, or ha 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 ha.
Sign, Drop, or Collab.
Sign meaning like.
You're keeping it. That's the number one.
The number one.
That's stuck with you.
Now y'all already. All right. And Never Say Never. Man, this is. I don't like this game.
That's why we like this game so
Yes,
much. And the good thing about this is because as creatives, we have to learn how to make decisions and stick with them. And we have to be, I mean, because it is a powerful lesson, right? Because it's like you don't want to do it, but it's just that's how you feel right now. We're going to
And
own
it might change. It might change.
It might change.
All right. Right now, it's full moon for the sign. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
I'm not sorry.
Good.
And I don't feel like it needs any explanation. It is the blueprint. It has been studied. It will continue to be studied. The stacking of the vocals, they're studying that in Berkeley music to this day. Oh, my mama. So, you know, Full Moon is it for me. Collab, Never Say Never. In particular, one song that to me should have been a single. I don't believe it was a single.
I know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say? Let's test it.
Is it Put That on Everything?
Was it a single? It was not a single.
It was not a single.
But it should have
But
been.
it really should have been. That's one of my favorite Brandy records, actually. So that's how.
The lyrics are just. I will pull a star out of the sky for you. Yes, I would. Like, you gonna pull it.
It's so poetic.
You wanted the cosmos for me, baby?
Mm-hmm.
Let's get married.
Period.
So that song just, and I know The Boy Is Mine got the Grammys and all the attention, and Almost Doesn't Count. So many classic songs, but that particular song, man.
Special.
And so, by default, Aphrodisiac drop.
But don't sleep on Aphrodisiac, though. That album
Yeah.
really is like that girl. It really is.
Are these your top 3?
Of her
Brandy
whole,
albums?
right, we could have did so many more projects. The self-titled Brandy album, I just didn't want to stress you out that much, you know?
I'm over here stressed.
Yeah, don't stress.
My top 3 would be Never Say Never, Full Moon, and actually 211.
I knew you were going to say that.
Would you drop 211?
If you had
Out of
put
those
that,
3?
no, we would have had to.
It would have done some
It would have been a remix and reverse.
It'd have been Full Moon, then 211, then Never Say Never.
That's crazy.
Which is hurtful because of how special that song is to me. But 211, there was a theme, a through line. I will not skip one of those songs. And Brandy was in her bag, like, to me, never before. Vocally, there was a confidence that she exuded.
Yep.
Even in the imagery, everything she rolled out from that project, man, it was iconic. And the collaboration with Chris Brown was what the culture needed. It did well on Billboard's mainstream and R&B. Like, I love that era of Brandy. Just iconic.
Yeah, that was her first album that came out after we met, right?
No. Well, probably, because there was a gap between, because that was after.
Was that
no. There's Human.
Was that 2013?
When was Human?
Human,
That was like
2010.
Okay, so that was
Human
before,
was 2008.
Was it?
Yeah, I was about to say I was like
Oh God,
just starting college.
I was having a baby. It's crazy.
When I relocated, I did drive 44 hours. And the way I handled that was by music. Day one, Usher. Let's revisit his entire catalog. 8 hours later, I'm to my first destination, so on and so forth. So I did that with Brandy. And when I revisited Human, maybe I was not evolved enough as a human to receive the project at the time. But where I am now, that project was very cathartic.
Human is
Very healing.
fantastic
I'd
album.
have to hear that one again.
Oh, it's so good. I played the heck out of that one. You've heard that? That's one with Piano Man.
I mean, I know. I remember that era of her. I never.
Yeah, man, that's a good album.
I just don't think I was in a space to receive the brilliance of that project, or I just hadn't lived enough life where I needed a fresh start or forgiveness. But even the title track was powerful.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was.
I'm only human. I might just tell a lie.
But I'm an angel in disguise.
I'm an angel in disguise. Man.
Bringing it back to Never Say
Never Say
Never.
Never.
Brilliant.
Second favorite song on Never Say Never. Angel in Disguise.
Oh, yeah.
In a love,
Joe.
babe. Yeah, Joe.
Oh, don't get me started.
We can stay on Brandy all day. I know y'all got other things to do. Man, I love that
Another
girl.
cold one.
You said
Joe.
that? Oh, yeah, Joe.
Severely underrated.
Yes.
The texture of that man's voice.
Incredible.
My God.
And he's another one who was a blueprint for the guys, for the R&B
Absolutely.
guys of now. Like, you can tell, like, oh, you liked Joe.
Yeah.
You definitely listened to some Joe.
I believe in my heart the Chris Browns and the Marios.
Mario. for
Kevin
sure.
Ross and
Yes.
Lucky Day, they
Yes.
all have that. Even Leon Thomas. Joe was a blueprint for these incredible R&B guys today, man.
And there's a Columbus, Georgia, my hometown. There's a Columbus, Georgia connection with Joe. I can't remember.
Wait, is Joe from Columbus?
I think he had maybe his grandparents or something. I can't remember. I never officially made what that connection was. I have to ask Jelani.
So y'all might be
Jelani played for him.
related.
Probably not related, but definitely
Makes
some of the
sense.
same people.
All the musicality.
Yeah, he might be your second cousin on your daddy's side, twice
You
removed.
never was Thomas.
We should work that out in a
Maybe
collaboration.
Kennard's.
Oh, Thomas, that's his last name.
Right.
We'll have to do some. He was
Okay.
born in Columbus.
Yeah, I knew it was something. He just wasn't there long. He left. He was like, "Let me get out of here and go
Just-
be successful."
Just passing through. All right, let's get to the next one. What's the next one? We have two more
That was so good.
sign drop collabs for you.
Y'all started out hard. I hope it gets easy. That was terrible.
Perhaps not. So, Okay, so next category, some of your faves. So
hate this show.
J-Lo, Beyonce, Oprah. Sign, drop, collab.
Yeah, impersonal impact.
Controversial.
We got J-Lo, Beyonce, Oprah. Oh my goodness. Is that a Virgo, a Libra, and a Leo and a Capricorn, I believe? I know Beyonce's Virgo for sure.
All I know is Beyonce. I don't know.
And I'm pretty sure Oprah's January. Doesn't matter, but I think so. And Jennifer Lopez is a Leo. You've got air, earth, and fire. Make a choice. Yep.
I love you so much. This show is so good. It's so good.
It's because you're on it. All the other episodes compared to this one.
And that's
Just
a
kidding.
lie.
I love everyone who's been on this show. I'm not sign job collabing our past guests or anything, but
Wait till I have you on Hollywood Confidential. I'm gonna pay both of you back.
Let's go.
This is a mess. All right. Sign, drop, kill. Correct.
oh no,
Oprah.
we're not killing anyone. Come on with the Freudian slips.
Collab.
Sign, drop, collab. Sign
Great.
is my one. Drop. You're out. Collab.
You're number 2. You're like the mustard of the condiments.
Mustard. All right.
Mustard on that beat.
Hey. All right, guys.
Here we go. I'm focused. Sign. My number 1. You're not gonna believe this. Jennifer Lopez.
I like Jennifer Lopez, Jenny from the block.
All right, she's my number 1. She's my sign because when it comes to being a multi-hyphenate, nuanced human being, she's it for me. She has mastered the dancing. Mm-hmm. She has mastered entertaining. She has mastered acting. And when I watched that movie Enough, I've had enough. Ooh. I just love her acting, man. I love everything that she brings to the table. And she was one of the first representations that I remember of a Puerto Rican on television. It was her and it was Rosie Perez. Mm-hmm. And I watched, and all of us 80s, 90s babies watched Jennifer Lopez move from In Living Color as a background dancer to somehow ending up in That's the Way Love Goes with Janet Jackson's video, to then Selena.
Another one was
anything for Selena.
indistinguishable between my young mind. I thought Jennifer Lopez
was Selena.
Mm-hmm.
And I will do anything for Selena.
Anything for Selena.
With an S.
Mm-hmm, with an S. I got my bumper taken off by Selena's.
That's it. Man, I feel like she gave us, whether knowingly or not, she gave us permission to be multidimensional. And we didn't have to stay in one lane or one box. Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't until I had the opportunity to work with her that I realized the permission that she gave me. And I'm grateful for that. Mm-hmm. And so she's my number 1. She's my sign. Take it or leave it.
What? I'm kind of with you on this. The more you explain it and you really, really think about it, even the roles that she was taking, they weren't specific for a Puerto Rican woman. She was just the leading woman. It wasn't about color. It wasn't about anything. She was just playing the role and taking up space. Yeah, man. Yep. Jennifer Lopez.
Give her things, man. I'm tired of the internet. I'm tired of cancel culture. I'm tired. Stop. Look, now, what's the next one?
Say what you got to say,
Say what you got to say. This is a safe space.
I'm just disappointed in how we use the internet as a tool to villainize and to demonize and attempt to take away the props or not give flowers to those who have paved the way.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's 20 years of hit records. Mm-hmm. It's 20 years of acting and 20 years of dominating. And I don't care if you think that she's not the best vocalist. The fact that you know her catalog.
Period.
The fact that she's got gold and platinum plaques. At some point, you were a fan. And there's no need to use the internet to dismiss what she's accomplished. Right. I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired. Yeah. I'm tired. Give her thing.
And she looks good.
Good.
What? 50 where?
I seen her up close, y'all.
And it's real.
Fine.
Up close?
Fine.
Wow.
I was on her. Frames and I do also want to shout out Stevie Mackey, who gave me the opportunity to work with him and Jennifer on that music video. It's easy to just say I work with J-Lo, but Stevie has been someone who we've all had the opportunity to see grow leaps and bounds in this space as one of the foremost leading vocal directors in the industry, and he's carved his path. And it was a pleasure and honor for him to be invited by him to handle their dream. You know, and we got to film that at the Grove, which is a place I used to go when I first moved to LA to dream and figure out where my career was going to go. And so to have that full circle moment with Stevie, because of Stevie and Jennifer, it was awesome. So I just want to shout him out. Stevie Mackey, you all right with me?
Yeah.
And it was beautiful and magical, by the way. I loved
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
It was really good.
And again, I feel like she killed her vocals, so I don't care. I'm out here deleting comments every Christmas. I post that video, but I'm going to do it to do my part in defending the legacy. And you don't like it, see me. All right. What's the next one?
Oh, well, you still haven't given us 2 and 3.
You're right. They'll be quicker. No more stories.
That's okay. These are good. The stories are good.
So what's the second part?
So it's either
Collab.
Yep, collab
And
is
then drop.
Okay, collab. I'm going to collab with, this is hard. Guys, I just feel like this is going to get me canceled. I'm just kidding. It's jokes. It's jokes. It's the how for me. How? What are you going to say?
What are we gonna do?
Collab. I would like to run it back one more time with Oprah Winfrey. Had the massive opportunity to work with her and the Black Love team on Black Love and helping to shape that show and get it sold into the network and produce the first 3 seasons and invite amazing friends and family to sit on that couch to share their stories of love, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And what a pleasure and honor. But the one capacity I have yet to work with Oprah in is on our Hollywood Confidential stage. And so when you talk about collab, she's a dream guest. And I think it was the quintessential goal of all millennials to be on the Oprah Winfrey couch. But then the show ended. So now that I've got my own platform, come see about me, Miss Oprah Winfrey.
Come see about me.
Yes.
Mommy Oprah.
That's going to happen.
It is.
I believe it.
We'll do it in the manifestation segment.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Okay, segment. By default, that now leaves Beyonce as a drop, which is wild to say. And here come the Beehive. I'm actually in a coma as we speak. But no, from the internship to having the opportunity to work with Beyonce as a part of the special that I sold to Oprah Winfrey called the Waco Wearable Art Gala special. It ended up being one of the first televised interviews that Beyonce had done in 6 or 7 years because she does everything in-house. So to just, again, have the opportunity to work alongside her in the infancy stages of my career. And then again, when I needed a look, she was there. So I'm so thankful to Beyonce, her mother, Tina Knowles, and the entire Knowles Carter dynasty and the example that they've set, the blueprint, bars that they've laid before us. They're some of our first Black millionaire and billionaires that we've seen in music. And so the legacy is cemented. And I just want to say all the good things that I could say before I get canceled. Because she definitely got dropped.
Respectfully, we placed her down to
Gently
on a silk.
Mattress.
Maybe not.
Palette. Palette sounds better.
Palette, yeah.
Yes.
Silk
The queen.
palette.
Fit for a queen.
With seeded grapes. Not
Yes.
seedless.
Yeah.
Seeded.
I love that.
You know?
I love that.
Enjoy your grapes.
I would also like to say, if you're going to come sting me, come sting these two on their account as well.
Whoa.
There's enough bee stings for everybody. All right.
I'm immune. So come on, bring it.
Okay. We love that, brother.
Last one, Kalia, what we got to make him crazy?
Producing television, curating events, writing a book. Sign, drop, collab.
Man, who?
Not who.
You did this? You a liar and you're a cheat. Man. Television producing, event producing, or writing a book.
Yeah. What's number one? What are we keeping for life?
Which one is that again?
Sign.
We're going to sign. Oh, man, guys. we're going to sign producing television.
Why?
It's just one of the most powerful mediums that we have to influence the next generation and show them the possibilities of who they can be. Such a powerful tool when used responsibly. So I got to keep that. Even if I sell one show a year, that's enough for me. So I will have to keep that there as my North Star. And I have so many other stories I want to tell. I'm just getting started in that space. So yeah, we're going to keep that. Collab. I'm going to need to do another book. This is the first of many. My dream is to have an imprint and sign diverse authors underneath Hollywood Confidential.
Yeah.
And that will come to fruition.
Yes, it will.
So we're going to have to collab and run that back. And that means we're dropping events, which, hey, it's a hell of a lot of pressure to find these brands and to curate events. Like we just did the Oscar Academy with Lupita Nyong'o, and it hardly is utilized for our events and our faces and spaces. And so to allow our audience of dreamers to see themselves reflected in that space was massive. The Oscar Academy, y'all. Yeah. But also it comes with a lot of hard work. So you know what? We're going to drop that one. And that's on that.
Take off the pressure.
Man, these questions are crazy. I tensed up and everything.
So we can go ahead and wrap this up.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're going to get into our last segment, Let There Be Manifestation. So this is the part where we're just laying out the blueprint. You already very familiar with this, doing your vision boards and everything for the things that you've already manifested. So I'm curious now, what's next? And I guess that one thing that you're really hyper-focused on manifesting in the near future.
And we're here to touch and agree to make it even stronger. Because we've had a really great track record, by the way, with the people who've come on the show and they've manifested things and then they happen. So, use this wisely because it's going to happen.
It is.
Just one thing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we already know, too, you're going to work with Oprah on Hollywood Confidential. And we know that you're going to, what was the other thing that he manifested earlier?
I remember a second one.
There was a second one.
Second one was I want to do an imprint for diverse voices.
That's the second one.
All right. Third is I want to do a Hollywood Confidential podcast.
Ooh.
Yes.
I feel like we've got all this past archived footage, which we're going to start rolling out to promote the book, of course. But there's so many conversations. And you know what? It's a shame that a lot of these brands do not see the value in all of our stories. And so if it's not A-list, they're not trying to put any money behind it. And there are so many legends who deserve to have stories told and to receive their flowers. And so I don't want to get into naming names, but it was such an honor to make a conscious decision for our 10-year anniversary in 2023 to give Marla Gibbs of 227 her flowers. And I even had people on my production team who were trying to sway me. We need to go hard. I'm like, this is going hard. Without her comedic genius, would we have a Niecy Nash? Would we have an Issa Rae? Would we have a Tashina Arnold? A Tisha Campbell, who are all standing on her shoulders. And so to give her that love that she received, it was important to me. And now other platforms have come behind us a year later and honored her on their platforms, no names. But I hope that we played some small part in seeing her receive the love on these massive platforms. So yeah, I think a podcast would give me the opportunity to speak with someone that a brand may not see the value in, but we know the value in showcasing and platforming our stories. So Hollywood Confidential podcast, I want that to be next.
All right. Well, it's coming then. So
Yeah, we need more and more media from our voices, more and more directors and producers